Insane Clown Posse issues a be on the lookout alert to all juggalos. Dee Snider throws shade at Motley Crue. Five Finger Death Punch guitarist Zoltan Bathory shares a crazy video of his home nearly burning down. And unfortunate news, Eddie Van Halen may never tour again, according to a recent interview. Stick with us. Welcome to Rockfeed. In 2020, the Juggalos seem to have become the moral arbiter for all society. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But first, I want to show you this video shared by Five Finger Death Punch guitarist Zoltan Bathory. He posted a video from his girlfriend of a crazy fire breaking out just beside his house, and Zoltan is truly a guy who really doesn't care what anybody thinks, and most people would be worried about their house burning down, but not Zoltan. Instead, he wanted to make sure that he put some coffee outside so that it could get properly roasted. Take a look at this.
A little forest of this property here just caught on fire. Oh my God, look. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that's wild. Go ahead. Wow. Holy shit. This is crazy.
So since our neighborhood is on fire, and I put the Black Rifle coffee outside to roast it. Because it's gonna be roasted coffee.
Zoltan is an absolute madman. This is the same guy who is not just in one of the biggest bands in the world. He also drives monster trucks. He's an expert marksman and he does MMA. I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff I'm leaving out. So look, if houses across the street from me are engulfed in massive flames, the last thing I'm gonna do is probably go outside and start roasting coffee. But I do aspire to give as little of a shit as Zoltan does, so kudos to him. And next up, we've got a story from Twisted Sister frontman Dee Snider, who couldn't be talking about anyone else other than Motley Crue, but he doesn't name them directly, but let's just say he's definitely throwing shade at Motley Crue. Speaking to Ultimate Guitar, Dee Snider says it's bullshit when a band announces a farewell tour and then later comes back. Am I missing anything? He said, I think it's bullshit when you say farewell. Rage Against the Machine breaks up. That's not retirement. They broke up and they reformed, and that's great. But when you do a farewell tour and you announce this and you sell tickets and you have a t-shirt that says no more tours. Oh, Ozzy, damn. Thank you very much, Ozzy. I bought one of those. And then you come back. That's bullshit. So when you say we're retiring, people now don't take it seriously. So, you know, I think it's a joke. And I think that part of it is that these artists have nothing else going on. And I realize that without playing, they have no career. I have done so many things. I mentioned Broadway. I've been doing radio for 30 years now. Voiceover work. I act. I write screenplays. I'm going to be directing my first 2 movies. I'm supposed to be directing in May, but COVID stopped that. I just finished my first novel. And now, in the late stage of my life, I've found my voice, my last place in the metal community. After a lot of attempts over the last couple of decades, I finally found my place. So if I do anything musically, I'm not going to go backward. I'm going to continue forward with Dee Snider for the new millennium musically. And of course, Twisted Sister is one of those bands that's retired. So at this point, Dee Snider cannot say that the band is going to reform when he has taken this sort of a stance. But again, Motley Crue was sort of the same way. They were saying, we're done. We have a contract. Remember when they were talking about that contract that said they could never come back and then they just blew it up? I mean, really, they're back. They're saying everybody's interested in the dirt again, and maybe they are, but it's true. You know, you have artists. Again, I missed the point about Ozzy Osbourne. Kiss has done this as well. Remember, Kiss had a farewell tour, and then now they're on their second farewell tour that I think's been going on since like George Bush was president or something. At least a decade, it seems like. I don't know. Maybe my timing's off. But here's the thing. Somebody's buying tickets to these Motley Crue stadium tours. So you, the fan out there, don't be dogging Motley Crue if you're sitting on some tickets for that Motley Crue stadium tour next year. It's really hard for me to believe that people have already forgotten that the artist formerly known as David Lee Roth has changed his name to L. Roth. This is late June, and I'm seeing headlines referring to him as David Lee Roth. The man has changed his name, and I intend to continue referring to him as the Great L. Roth. All right, but all jokes aside, his bandmate Eddie Van Halen has had some health issues the last few years. It's been reported that he's been battling cancer and going over to Germany for treatment, and we wish him well, and we hope that he's able to recover. And there is a new interview in the New York Times out today with Roth speaking about his bandmate, Eddie Van Halen, and he unfortunately says he does not foresee him hitting the road again or touring with the band. Naturally, that doesn't rule out possibilities for things like Las Vegas shows where they're at the same place and they're able to have more of a healthier lifestyle than, again, the rigors of the road. So Roth said, I don't know that Eddie is ever really going to rally for the rigors of the road again. I don't even want to say I've waited. I've supported for 5 years because what I do is physical as well as musical and spiritual. You can't take 5 years off from the ring, but I did. And I do not regret a second of it. He's a bandmate. We had a colleague down and he's down now for enough time that I can't know that he's going to be coming back out on the road. You want to hear the classics? You're talking to him. And Roth does tour as a solo artist where he does play those Van Halen classics. So if you hear that he's coming to town, what I've heard is he does put on a pretty entertaining show, but I've also heard from people that he's had some vocal troubles on stage, and we've talked about that a little bit here. All right, and so this is the story that many of you were waiting for. The Insane Clown Posse have issued a plea to their juggalos nationwide. Many juggalos out there. They are a very well-organized bunch. They are very angry at the Blood on the Dance Floor frontman, someone who has been accused by numerous women of some very serious allegations. There is an expose that came out in Huffington Post back in 2018. Chris Hansen has also looked into some of these. I don't know all the details, so I can't go into them here, but I do know that there is this long compendium from Huffington Post that you can research. So out of nowhere, the Insane Clown Posse took on this guy, Davi Vanity, who is apparently the leader of Blood on the Dance Floor. And they go into a scathing takedown of this musician, including calling for this man to be beat down. That's what they're saying, not me. And so I'm going to read this. I'm going to have to censor a lot of it, not because I want to, but for YouTube's sake. Yeah, there is a lot of profanity in this statement. They shared this photo and they said, "Juggalos, keep your Terminator-style eyeballs open for Juggalo enemy number one. This peacock wig-wearing, motherfucking fraudulent, fake, phony-ass, devil's punk stone-hearted criminal. For some lame-ass reason, he calls himself Davi Vanity, pronounced sick but his real name is Jesus Torres, former vocalist of some bullshit band called Blood on the Dance Floor, active, free-roaming, unconvicted, out here free-roaming. Lock him up now. If you spot this free-roaming beast out in public somewhere, you know what to do. Pick up a heavy object and inflict necessary beatdown. Just make sure it's the correct guy first and not some other totally innocent, peacock, wig-wearing fool." So these are very serious claims, and so far Davi Vanity hasn't responded to these comments from the Insane Clown Posse, and ICP left their post up, so obviously this is something they feel very serious about, and it's a very serious post. I know that I would not want to be on the wrong side of the juggalos. Now, at the same time, I also want to point out that I have dealt with many juggalos in my life, and they are nothing but, in my experience, they are very kind, welcoming people. I went to the Juggalo March a few years ago, and I met so many of them, and they were being classified as a gang, and there were so many of them, and they were peaceful, and they were like, this is not us. They're like a band that is very much, or a group of people rather, that are very much focused on a sense of community, and they are very much, you know, together in their support of ICP. But if you go to like the gathering of the Juggalos, it's definitely a rowdy bunch, no doubt about it. But if they love you, man, they have your back forever, dude. So I would not want to be on the wrong side of the Juggalos. And yeah, if you have read these claims about Davi Vanity, these are obviously very troubling allegations. For the report by Huffington Post, at least a reporter has attempted to contact Vanity, and they were met with the following quote: "Get off my property or I'll call the police." I have not seen any public denials of these allegations against him. So yeah. All right, and last but certainly not least, I just want to talk about a few of my favorite recent musical releases, and I want to hear your favorite recent musical releases. Please don't promote your own band. I definitely am down to check that out, but as a fan, as a music fan, what are you listening to right now. For me personally, I've been listening to the new Bring Me the Horizon song, Parasite Eve, Diamantes, and Breaking Benjamin's cover of Iris, which I thought was very well done. I'm a sucker for power ballads, baby. And the entire new Amir album, Hindsight, which is very well done. It's got a lot of new metal vibes to it, and I'm a sucker for new metal. That's what I'm listening to. Let me know what you're listening to in the comments down below. And be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on breaking news and updates. Thanks so much for joining us today at Rockfeed, and we'll see you all very soon.